Hello, and welcome to a special edition of SCF In Studio. I'm Charles Clapsaddle, Station Manager for Manatee Educational Television. And on this edition of SCF In Studio, we're going to be talking about the State College of Florida's Model UN team that made history at a recent competition. For the first time in the college's history, the SCF Model UN team won the Outstanding Delegation Award, the top honor, which is equivalent to the gold medal at the 25th Annual Southern Regional Model United Nations Conference in Charlotte, North Carolina in April. The team also won the Best Position paper for stating their assigned country's position on a number of issues. The team members received a perfect score on 4 out of 5 of the submitted position papers. Now, it's believed that the team's 99.4% average score is possibly the highest in the conference's 25-year history. Now, let me introduce our Model UN team faculty advisor, Danny Firstman, and team members Carlisle Steyer and Ann Miller, who also both won individual Outstanding Delegate Awards. Thank you all for being here, and congratulations on just a wonderful achievement. It's great to have you here. Danny, you've got to be very proud of these students and of the achievement.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, having seen the program over the last 5 years, seeing how much work the students put in, and this particular group, we had an unusually large number of returning students. So seeing them really improve the quality of their work from what was already really strong work, taking it to the best possible level they could be at was, I think, for everyone involved, really gratifying. When you put that much effort in to get to the top of the mountain is pretty fantastic.
Well, under your leadership, and you've been involved with the Model UN program for many years, is that correct?
Yeah, I actually, my dean, when I started at the college, Darlene Wedler Johnson, really encouraged me to start a Model UN program at the college. And so we got started about 5 years ago. This is the end of our 5th season of competing.
And I think you've reached the pinnacle here after this most recent competition. I mean, what a great achievement for the college, and it really highlights the achievement and the caliber and the quality of students that go to the State College of Florida.
Absolutely. I mean, for our students to be able to come in and really, without having the ability to participate in 5 or 6 conferences a year, which a lot of the other schools do, you don't necessarily get those practice reps, so you're having to stand out based on your talent and the hard work you're putting in when you're practicing at your home institutions. I think that really speaks to the native ability that we have in the Manatee-Sarasota area to be able to do that and outperform all these other schools.
Congratulations again. But not to take anything away from you and your leadership and your guidance for the UN team, but you have 2 of the outstanding members here today, and let me introduce them. And, first of all, congratulations for your individual honor and for also the collective honor for the team itself. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to be a SCF.
Well, thank you. I'm a returning student. I've been out of college for 30 years. I took time off to raise my 4 boys. And once they were gone, I had started my own small business. And I really liked helping other women start their own businesses as well. But I realized that there were a lot of things I needed to learn to help others, and I wanted to get my business degree and my master's in business administration, and I had never completed my bachelor's, even though I had been to college before. State College of Florida Venice campus is right up the street from where I live in Northport, has a wonderful business program at the baccalaureate level, so I was able to attend SCF and reach that goal. I'll be graduating next spring with my baccalaureate in international business and trade, and then moving on to get my master's. And
what a remarkable achievement, and congratulations to you. And and SCF is very lucky to have someone of your caliber, on their UN team. But before we move on, just a moment, tell us what drew you to the Model UN program, and why did you want to get involved in that?
Well, I had heard about Model United Nations when I was in school before and hadn't had the opportunity to participate. And then when I heard it was going to be offered at SCF and that the Venice campus was going to have the opportunity to participate, I was very excited. I've since found out that it is a wonderful opportunity both for everything that I learned with Model United Nations and everything that I'm learning in my international business and trade classes has referred back to things that we learned through Model United Nations, my international business law and commerce. So it's really integrating real well with my curriculum.
Oh, that's terrific. Again, congratulations. And also joining us today is Carlisle Steyer. Now, Carlisle, you're a unique story in yourself. You are a senior at the SCF Collegiate School, and you'll be graduating this coming month or so. And you'll also be receiving your AA degree as well. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And how did you come to participate at the Collegiate School? What brought you to the SCF?
I was at Booker High School for my first 2 years of high school, and I honestly was just out with friends one night, and one of them mentioned the Collegiate School in passing. He was a senior at the time while I was a sophomore, and he said, you know, this new program is starting up, and I wish I had had this opportunity. And it sounded almost too good to be true. I mean, to be able to customize your own schedule and get so far ahead in college is an amazing opportunity. So I checked it out, and that was a Wednesday, and the next Monday I was sitting in our guidance counselor's office enrolling in the school.
Congratulations on that. And you'll be graduating this coming week or so, is that correct?
This Friday.
Congratulations on that. What drew you to the Model UN program, and how did you want to get involved in that?
What drew me to the Model UN program, I had heard of it while I was still in regular high school, and my guidance counselor recommended it to me just because he knows that I am interested in politics. I've always been politically minded, and it honestly, once finding out what it actually is, it was a great opportunity to learn so much about different countries that I hadn't given much thought to. Well, what does China think about any of these issues that we are being presented with, or what does Italy think about them? And it was very interesting to see how the world works, and that curiosity just drew me to it.
And I think that's a great opportunity if you have that natural curiosity and you have that kind of emphasis on finding a little bit more about the world. What a great opportunity that the Model UN offers. Now, you'll be, as you graduate, you're going to be going on to New College, is that correct?
That's correct.
And what would you like to do in your future thing? Have you kind of thought about that yet?
Well, I know I would like to go to law school and practice law in some iteration. I mean, what politically minded person wouldn't say this, but I kind of want to be president one day if I can.
Well, and I think that's a wonderful ambition to have, and we can say we've featured you here on METV at some point. So, and we'll keep an eye on you as you progress. Now, one of the things, and Danny, you got to be very proud of these people, and there's other people on the Model UN team. If you want to mention their names, that'd be wonderful.
Absolutely, yeah. Our other students who participated in the fall and spring conferences, Charles Keeler, George Vasquez, Carolina Montes, Jordan Foth, Kristen Moreno, and Matthew Rush.
That's terrific. So you work all together as a team, aside from as individual, emphasis as well. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Well, one of the things that I'd like for our audience to know is exactly what takes place at a Model UN conference, and how do you even prepare for something? Do they give you like a general understanding of the emphasis that you want to go on? How does that work? And we'll start with you, Carlisle.
My case was a little bit different this semester. I was actually on the United Nations Security Council at this conference, and the United Nations Security Council has a truly open agenda. All of the other committees have set agendas that are set, and so they get their 2 topics and you research those 2 topics. For the Security Council, you need a much broader understanding of everything. Anything could come up, and this semester I was faced with a butter smuggling crisis. Something that I had never given any thought to, and it was very interesting to see how my country would react to that. So for that, you mostly just read the news, try and find foreign outlets, try and find different perspectives on the hot button issues of the day, and you just go from there.
But also, I would suggest, and Danny, you jump in as well, is that, I mean, it helps you prepare, like argument and reasoning and, understand the intricacies of diplomacy. And all of these, many faceted things help you to evolve into, the positions that you need to take.
Most definitely, most definitely.
So, Ann, tell us a little bit about what you were doing and how you prepared for the Model UN.
Well, throughout the class, and we do get a number of class meetings before we actually attend the conference, which is an advantage. Once the school registers for the conference and we're assigned a country, first we learn about the history of the United Nations and about whatever committee that we'll be sitting on. And then we begin to learn about the views of our country. In the fall, we were Australia, which was much easier to learn about than in the spring. We were China, and to find a lot of things about China's position written in English that we could understand was a challenge. Then,
so research and preparation is integral for you to succeed at this.
it is. It's very intensive because then once we've learned about our country, we're assigned to committees. I was on the African Development Bank as a delegate, and we were given 2 topics, and then we research those topics, and not only what's being done about those topics, but what our country does about those topics and how our country would respond to things. Then Danny gives us lots of preparation time to speak. We speak in front of the class, timed, because that's one of the things with the United Nations. When you're up to speak, there's always a speaker's time. So we learn to speak in 30 seconds or 45 or 90, and how to present our views concisely in a short amount of time. So we do get a chance to practice that. We practice the procedures, the rules of order, and what it takes to put in a motion and all of those things. And then the writing, which is also very intensive as well, comes up next.
So it's really kind of multifaceted as you prepare for this. It's the research, it's the presentation style, it's also having the knowledge of how to present as well. Tell us a little bit about the actual conference itself. How many teams and from how many schools participated? Carl?
For the fall conference, which is slightly bigger, I would estimate about probably 110, 115 countries were represented. Now, many schools have big enough teams where they do represent multiple countries, but in a GA committee, which is all of the countries, it can get quite expansive.
Yeah, I can only imagine. And some of these schools, I imagine, that participate are quite larger, have bigger student bodies, and more participants. So you've got to be very proud of your accomplishment in doing that. But one of the things I'd like to know, you both of you individually won outstanding delegate awards, and tell us how that came about. And Ann, we'll start with you. How were you singled out as the outstanding delegate?
Well, throughout the conference, whenever we have opportunities to speak, when we're able to work with other countries in the diplomacy process and coming up with resolutions to the topics that were done, our director and assistant director, as well as other conference people, are always watching us to see, are we staying in character as our country? Are we working well with others? How do we speak, and do we speak to the topic? And there's an point accumulation system. So there's always people looking to see when we do well and evaluating what we're doing. I really expected it to be a challenge. Being China, fortunately on my committee, China is not argumentative as much as it can be on other topics. So I was able to work with a lot of people, and apparently that came through for me.
Well, again, what a great honor and outstanding. But if that's you won an outstanding delegate award as well. So tell us about how that came to be.
Well, I believe in quite an opposition to Ann. China is very argumentative on the Security Council, especially since they hold what's called a P5 veto, which means anything that they say absolutely no to fails immediately, even if all of the rest of the votes are a yes, which actually did happen in the voting procedure of our committee. We had 10 yes votes and my 1 no vote, and it failed a resolution. But I think it is, just as Anne said, staying in character, speaking to the topic, working with other delegates as much as you can, while always keeping in mind the purview of your country's position and being willing to say, my country can't support that, and if it's not changed, I have to vote against it.
And again, what a critical thing be able to do the research and know from your knowledge and the research that you've done is this is the approach that my country that I'm representing has to take. So Danny, how do you guide both Anne and Carlisle through this preparation, and the others as well? How do you guide them in their preparation of what to emphasize?
Well, some of it is just having students who have been through the process before, especially when you have returning students. I find I do less and they do better, which is probably a commentary on me and on them. But it's sort of general research skills. What are you looking for? How do you go about finding information on your given topic? And then, especially for delegates, for students who have never been to a conference before, a lot of it is, these are the kinds of situations that might come up that you should give some thought to. So, even in a committee that has 2 set topics, the topics are usually very expansive. So they might be responding to the Ebola crisis, or water and sanitation, or water access. So they're broad enough that you need to be prepared for someone to bring in something completely from left field that you're like, oh, I did not come across that in my research, but what basic principles have I discovered about Australia's position on something or China's position on something that would help me respond to this in an informed manner that is convincingly portraying what I believe my country would do.
And both of you take that into consideration as you're preparing, your talking points or your research or your position paper. But one of the things I'd like to know a little bit about, and Anne, we'll start with you. Throughout this preparation and experience and actually a competition, how has that helped you become a better student? And how has that kind of shaped you for your other efforts in your career?
Well, the time management skills have been absolutely wonderful. It is a lot of research. And you get to reading, and then you click on a link, and you click on a link, and you click on a link, and it's 3 hours later, and you're still reading. So, but I've learned to get that very organized. One of the things that they teach us when they teach us about the sermon conferences is putting together a research binder, learning how to organize your research. So as Danny said, when something comes at you out of left field, even if you haven't studied that particular topic, you have at your fingertips the information that you can refer to.
Exactly.
And I've applied that, as I said, to some of my other classes. It's been real nice that the topics have overlapped, so it's helped me understand my other classes as well. This was actually a very heavy semester for me. This semester I was taking 7 classes.
Oh my goodness.
So working all of that in, but I had the advantage because I had done in the fall, so same as Carlisle, we had learned all of the techniques and the speaking, and this was basically learning these new topics. And it's really helped me round out my other classes as well.
Now, Carlisle, I'll ask you the same question. You're a senior in high school. You're doing your collegiate studies as well. And I must say that you have a lot of poise, and but it's a little bit of pressure to be able to speak in front of a bunch of people and have that kind of knowledge and definitely poise to do that. How did this help you?
I've never really had trouble speaking in front of large groups. I've always been the one who wanted the spotlight, always been the one to say, look at me.
If you're running for president, that's an essential thing to have.
But the writing skills are the thing that I will always be thankful for. Writing the position papers and going through all the drafts and edits. I mean, my position paper probably went through 6 or 7 edits, going through it with Danny and looking at what needed to be fixed, what could be improved. And as you can see, he does a pretty good job.
Thorough job.
Yes. But so that was something I'd never written in this style, this official style, finding pieces of document that could range from being written in 1948 to 2015. It was the research aspect, but then incorporating it all into a cohesive body that shows not only what has been done, but what needs to be done and what my country would like to do about it. It's a great skill to have.
And I would say it's very thorough as well. These are skills or academic skills that will serve you well into the future as well. What would you say to perhaps other SCF students that are out there or would like to perhaps participate in this in some capacity? Because you're moving on, and you'll still be available. What would you say to those young people out there or other students, non-traditional students, that might want to participate in the Model UN program under Danny's guidance?
I would encourage anyone to apply. There is an application process, but I can't think of anyone who wouldn't be good for this, wouldn't bring something to the table, something different, something that no one else in that class is going to have that is going to benefit the team. Anyone can be molded into a great delegate.
That's excellent. So it was a great participation. Is it what you expected it to be when you first, you've been with the 3 semesters?
3 semesters now.
Was it kind of what you expected? Is it more than what you expected?
It was definitely more intensive than what I expected. I expected, mostly to be given free reign of my country's policy with a little bit of knowledge.
Not the fact, though.
Not the fact at all. To have people that are as intense about their country's position and as knowledgeable as I am was very, very surprising. It was a great, refreshing change of pace.
Good for you. And what about you?
Well, as Carlisle said, you are there with other people that have been working towards this conference as well, and they're just as well prepared and they're just as intent on stating their country's positions and working with you. But I have been actively recruiting on our campus. I wanted to grow our Venice team. Myself and one other student, Matthew, were the only 2 from Venice, and I kind of wanted to grow that presence.
Oh, excellent.
So I talked to other students and I let them know all of the benefits that I have found, not only the public speaking experience, the writing experience, the international broadening, but also the fact that it's when you're looking at activities to do on campus, and SCF offers a number of enriching activities, but this is one that is going to carry you through. I've learned that it is beneficial when you're applying for scholarships, when you're applying for graduate school, when you're applying for jobs. In fact, the director on my first committee, that was the first thing he said was, you all have done the first step of building your resume, and he actually, that was all his first job wanted to talk about was his Model UN experience, and it helped him land his first job out of law school. So
I think that's an excellent thing, and all of this experience will do you good stead as you pursue your careers. Now, Danny, you've got to look at these individuals here and say, I'm very proud of them, as you are with all of the participants in the program. But you've also done a great deal of things. You're the administrator of the Brain Bowl team that did exceptionally well this year.
I'm just a supporter. I don't want to take Christina and Hyun's. They're the actual coaches.
Right,
I'm just a fan.
A big supporter, big supporter for the Brain Bowl as well. It really speaks to the caliber and the quality, not only of the students that are participating, but also of the caliber and the quality of the faculty and staff at SCF. And why is that important to give individuals like this the opportunity to excel at SCF? What is that philosophy?
Well, there are a couple pieces that go into it. Our favorite statistic that we love to share at the college is that when our students go on and transfer to other colleges, they end up with a higher average GPA in those last 2 years than the students who are natively starting there, which is, this I think speaks to the quality of talent that we have in this area. And one thing that is great about State College of Florida is that it's open access. That we have students who they just finished their GED, or they maybe high school was a challenge for them, or they had some other priorities, and so this is a second opportunity for them. But we also have lots of talented students who excelled in high school, went off and got life experience, came back to school, and so it's really nice to have opportunities at the college for all of our student body.
Absolutely.
From one end of the spectrum to the other. And what I find the most interesting, Carlisle sort of pointed this out, is that you really never know who's going to make the best delegates. We've had students who, we have a wait list procedure because the college is generous in funding this trip, and so we can't take everyone who'd like to go. And sometimes students who come in off the wait list end up being your best students. And you're like, who would have known? So it shows people, we've had students who this was their first time on an airplane, and then we've had students who have done Model UN in high school, and so they just sort of slide right into this like it's old hat.
Well, and I think, if Ann and Carlisle are examples of the caliber that you bring, you can expect great things in the future because you're already thinking about next year. Now that you have the trophy, you still have to think about next year. Is that correct?
It's true. It's tough. We're sort of like that. Not that this ever happens in college basketball anymore, but in the good old days before one and done, it's like we have a team of mostly seniors who are graduating, And so we have a couple students who are returning, which is great. And we do have a full group for next year. We have 8 students, half on Venice. So that's the first time that'll be the case, which is really nice. But it's, like I sort of said earlier, you get to the top of the mountain, and then you're not quite starting at the bottom again, because you have all this institutional knowledge that builds up, and I become better at being an advisor every semester. But it will definitely be an uphill climb.
Well, both Ann and Carlisle here have set the bar very high. So hopefully, as you move into next year and some of the conferences you have, you'll have some exceptional students that'll fill these shoes. Now, we're kind of winding down a little bit, and I want to go around the table. And first of all, Ann, I'd like to ask you, what has SCF meant to you? The kind of support and faculty and that you've taken away from SCF, and what would you say to individuals that might be interested in SCF?
Oh, SCF has been a gift to me. It's convenient. I'm located in Northport. I was really afraid that I would have to have a long commute if I wanted to complete my college degree, and it's one reason why I didn't do it until I had this opportunity. It's affordable, and even though it is a community college, the offerings are superb. The classes that I get to choose from, the baccalaureate degree that's going to fit my needs for business, the student services, the faculty that we have on campus is very supportive. I also work through a work-study program in the student services office, so I get to work with a lot of our staff and see how they help students. So I have an opportunity to really see all of the benefits that the college offers, and I wish more of our students took advantage of more of the things that are available to them.
Well, and again, congratulations, Ann, on just a job well done and great continued success in your career. Now, Carlisle, as you move towards the presidency, in the future, and you're graduating now, what would you say about your SCF experience?
I have to reiterate all of the sentiments that Ann just said. It's been absolutely the best experience of my life. I don't think I would be at the same place personally or academically without SCF. I have to thank the Brain Bowl team as well. I was actually on the winning team, and so to hear you drop that name was... Yeah.
Well, we had some of the individuals in here, and they were just wonderful people, and I think they sang your praises as well. But going from the collegiate school, getting your associate's degree, it's got to be kind of sometimes overwhelming for a young man to do that. How did SCF meet that challenge of making not only you feel welcome, but also involved and engaged?
SCF, and especially the collegiate school, and Mr. Matt Bowman have really guided me through, and Miss Angela Almeida have really guided me through this entire process. They have been excellent advisors. Danny has always been an excellent resource to go to if I ever do feel overwhelmed or need help with an assignment or fitting in the campus, but I've never really felt excluded by the age gap. Everyone at SCF has always been welcoming and accommodating, and I've never really felt singled out, oh, there's the collegiate kid. It's always been, oh, there's another SCF student.
Well, and again, congratulations, Carlisle. Congratulations, Ann. This is not only an individual achievement, but it's also that collective achievement for SCF, and they should be very proud of your contributions to this. And Danny, I'm going to give you the last word on this. You look at these individuals here, and you've got to be very, very proud, not only of their achievements, but also what they've brought to the school. So tell us briefly what you would suggest to other people out there who are thinking of SCF, or perhaps at SCF, or are thinking about the Model UN?
Well, there's 2 different pieces there for people who are considering SCF. I'd say that we are really fortunate. I've worked at a number of community colleges throughout the country, and we happen to have one of the best. I mean, we have a faculty, a staff, an administration that really cares, and it shows in the quality of work that our students do. And then for students who are interested in Model UN, I would say if you're interested, come see me. Give it a try. It's the most work you're ever going to do for a 3-credit class, but as the students will tell you, virtually every single one, when they get to the end, they want to do it again.
Well, first of all, I want to thank all of you for taking the time out to come and talk about this. This is really a significant achievement for the college to be able to do that, and for you individually. And thank you very much, and continued success. You're going to be moving on after you graduate and get your MBA or your master's?
I will. I don't graduate till next spring, so I'm going to be on the team again in the fall. So
right. Well,
I'm looking forward to it.
You'll be that, you'll be that continuity of that they'll
Absolutely.
need. Carlisle, congratulations. Individual honors, congratulations on your graduation. You graduate in a week or so, and you know, moving on to new college and continued success as you move towards the presidency. Okay.
Thank you
and
very
Danny, you again. You've been involved with many facets of the State College and all of the things for many, many years. You're really to be congratulated, not only for your vision, but your mentorship of these individuals and others, you know, for the continued success individually, as well as the recognition that the school so richly deserves. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us on this special edition of SCF In Studio. I'm Charles Clapsaddle, and we'll see you next time. And we'll just pretend to talk for a minute.